People found something strange. There seemed to be something in the current river. Otto was curious and picked up a jar and threw it into the water. He didn't expect to be eaten by an unknown creature in an instant. People were happy to discuss that it should be a dolphin playing with humans. After that, he threw all the food and drinks in his hand. He didn't know that this curious idea of killing cats was about to cost them their lives. In the next second, Otto looked far away and stood there. A huge monster that looked like a fish and looked like a lizard came to people. People saw such a scene and began to run away. Those who couldn't escape were thrown out dozens of meters away. Then the monster rushed to the crowd of people. Seeing so many prey, Ado was dazzled. At this time, a girl was sitting on the grass. She was listening to her cousin talking about the movie. She didn't notice the danger coming at all. It was too late to react. At the same time, the people in the square were in a mess. It was full of fear and love. At this time, a group of people fled into the house. In the end, only a woman was left outside the door. Just before the monster rushed in, the woman jumped down the stairs to save her life. But looking at the house, it was terrible. The monster rushed in and could be a monster. It could easily hunt for food inside, because the door on the other side of the house was locked. The people in the house began to shout desperately through the door. At this time, the woman found her son still in the house. Her uncle was eager to ask Ado for help. In this way, with the help of Ado and a foreign friend, they finally opened the door and saved the people in the house. Then a foreign friend took a breath. He picked up a brick and threw it at the monster, but this had no effect on the monster. So with the help of Ado and his friend, he picked up a stone stool and smashed it at the monster. The monster felt that he had been molested. He rushed towards the two of them. At this time, Ado ran into the car. Looking at the foreign friend, he was not so lucky. He was stepped on by the monster and was in danger. In order to save the other party, Ado used his whole body to pick up the stone stool and smash it at the monster again. This time, he successfully smashed the monster's tail. The monster shouted in pain and began to chase after Ado. During the race, Ado pulled his daughter away from the scene. In a state of panic, they fell. After standing up, Ado searched for his daughter's hand and ran a distance. He turned around and found something wrong. He was pulling someone else's daughter. Ado was completely stupid. That's the dramatic scene. He could only watch his daughter being caught by the monster. He only saw the monster jump into the Han River. He grabbed his daughter and swam across the Han River. Then he slowly dived into the water and disappeared. He only left Ado's father in despair, but he could do nothing about it. Ado was still immersed in the sorrow of losing his daughter Xuanshu. At this time, he received the news that he had to evacuate as soon as possible. Then the South Korean military took over here. The waters around the Han River were divided into control zones. At night, all the families of the victims gathered together. They chased after the missing relatives and looked forward to the photos of Xuanshu's life and death. Uncle and aunt's family were in great pain. As the situation developed more and more serious, as long as those present appeared at the scene of the river incident, they had to be centralized and isolated. It turned out that this monster not only caused human casualties. An American officer was with Ado in the morning. He was killed in a fight with the monster. His body was infected with some unknown terrible virus. In this way, Ado's family was isolated. At night, Ado was so hungry that he couldn't sleep. So he secretly found a can and hid. Suddenly his phone vibrated. Ado answered the phone and heard a noise. But Ado still heard the voice of his daughter Xuanshu. Xuanshu told Ado that his phone was about to run out of power, and he was trapped in a deep sewer. Ado anxiously asked his daughter for the exact location. After saying that, there was no sound on the phone. Ado heard his daughter was still alive and excited. Then Ado called the police to ask for help from the police. Who knew that the police would be calm? Ado was sure that he was talking nonsense. What's more ironic is that Uncle told the police that he couldn't locate the location through a phone record. The police said, "That's not what you're supposed to do. How complicated is this? I told you to keep an eye on it." After asking for help, they could only plan to leave here. They went to find and rescue Xuanshu. But just as the operation began, Ado's yellow hair was exposed to the target. "There's a yellow hair over there." The escape plan was discovered. They hurriedly ran away. Then they got in the car to pick up their car and left. The father, Lao Piao, also took out all his savings. He bought a search and rescue equipment in the black market and 3 live ammunition guns. Soon, a family of 4 was wanted and posted online. Even so, it couldn't stop them from saving their loved ones. Finally, they disguised themselves as disinfectants. They successfully confused the officers. Then, according to what Xuanshu said, as long as it's a sewer that's very deep, they'll search it like a carpet. I don't know how long it's been, but there's no progress. The family is tired, cold, hungry, and exhausted. So they plan to go back to their little store, eat something to replenish their energy before they continue to look for Xuanshu. This is when the family begins to fantasize, the scene when they eat with Xuanshu. The family will habitually take turns feeding Xuanshu. The family is happy and warm. The camera then comes to Xuanshu, but there's a clear contrast: the dark, humid, cold, and hungry environment, plus the cold corpse next to it. Xuanshu fantasizes about how good it is to be around his loved ones. This is when he suddenly hears the sound of the monster coming back. So he pretends to lie on the ground and doesn't move. Fortunately, the monster didn't notice him. Then he left the just captured prey and left Chao Sui. Fortunately, a little boy survived this time. Xuanshu just wanted to check the boy's injury. I didn't expect the prey to hear the sound and come back. Fortunately, Xuanshu held the boy tight and lied on the ground. Can he still fool the monster this time? The man found something strange. There was a monster looking at him through the gap in the door. This is when Lao Piao carefully picks up the hunting gun. Aim at the monster through the gap in the door. With a gunshot, the prey is as crazy as they are. The angry monster spits out his body. He threw Lao Piao's family's wheat cloth directly. This is when Lao Piao hit the monster with a shot. When Lao Piao and his family broke out of the house, he found the monster lying in front of him. The second son, Nan Yijian, shot the monster directly. I didn't expect the monster to run away. He just pretended to be dead and fooled them. Then the family began to chase the monster. They must get rid of the monster to avenge Xuanshu. The sound of the gun was also found by the patrol guards chasing them. The monster took advantage of this opportunity to hide in the water. Looking at the black shadow getting closer to them, Lao Piao let the children go first. He took advantage of this opportunity to fight the monster. He received a bullet from a doe. He still made up his mind to fight the monster, but the monster rushed to the shore. When Lao Piao shot the gun, there was no bullet in the trigger. It turned out that a doe had shot 4 times, but miscalculated one. At this time, Lao Piao calmly faced the reality. He waved to the children to let them leave. The responsibility of finding his granddaughter fell on them. Then he was hit by the monster and fell to the ground. The children watched their father being caught by the monster again. He fell into the river. Then a turn disappeared in the Han River. Looking at his dead father, Ado was in great pain, but the patrol guards were about to arrive. Ado asked his brother and sister to leave and look for Xuanshu. He picked up a piece of newspaper and covered his father's face. He wanted to turn around and leave, but he was reluctant to leave his father. In this way, Ado was still caught. He escaped. Nan Yi and Nanju were also scattered. Nan Yi thought of his college classmate. It was an employee of a communications company. He hoped to locate Xuanshu through the help of his classmates. The classmate promised to help Nan Yi. The two quietly sneaked into the company at night. They had to check the authorization code of the group leader before they could visit. In this way, the classmate came to the group leader's office. Unexpectedly, the police had already been ambushed in the house. It turned out that the classmate had already betrayed Nan Yi for the reward money. The classmate hadn't come out for a long time. Nan Yi just found a code in front of him. Then he tried his luck. Unexpectedly, he successfully entered and found the location of Xuanshu. Before Nan Yi was happy, he was surrounded by the police. At this time, Nan Yi calmly confirmed the location of Xuanshu. Then he cleverly made a shortcut device. At that time, there was a blackout in the house because of the shortcut line. Nan Yi took the opportunity to sneak out of the house, and all the police were trapped in the house. Before leaving, the classmate sent him a sign of encouragement. It turned out that the classmate still followed Nan Yi's heart. The classmate helped Nan Yi. He successfully got rid of the police's pursuit. He ran out of the building and faced the police car. Nan Yi jumped directly under the bridge. In the end, he got rid of the police's pursuit. Then he endured the pain on his body. He sent the location of Xuanshu to his brother and sister. Then he fell asleep. After seeing Nanju and Nan Yi disperse, he successfully rested under the bridge at night. Then he hid from the patrols. He charged his cell phone with energy in a wheat field. Then he received the location of Xuanshu, so he rushed to save Xuanshu first. After a long journey, Nanju arrived at Yuanji Bridge. He ran into a monster not long after he walked in. He wanted to pull out the bow and arrow, but he was hit by a fast monster. He fell into a narrow, deep pit. Fortunately, the pit was too small for the monster to catch Nanju. Nanju, who had fallen asleep, survived. On the other side of the camera, Ado also knew the location of Xuanshu. But how did he explain to the doctor? The doctor didn't care at all. He also said that his virus had reached Ado's head. He forced him to have a head surgery. In the end, Ado kidnapped the staff under the buff of saving the girl's heart. Then the car finally escaped and went to the location of his daughter. Then Nan Yi woke up from her sleep. With the help of the homeless man, they made a fire. Then they rushed to the Yuanzi Bridge. Then they went back to Xuanshu. He saw that he and Nan Hai were getting weaker and weaker. He couldn't wait for help, but he was trying to find a way to save himself. He collected all the clothes he could use and tied them together. He used all his strength to hang the clothes on the iron net above. But the desperate clothes were hung up, but there was still a big gap below. He couldn't catch it when he jumped up. When Xuanshu was struggling with what to do, an opportunity was right in front of him. After the monster was full, he came down to rest. To check if the monster was asleep, Xuanshu picked up a yiliguan and smashed it at the monster. The movement made the monster have no reaction. So Xuanshu had a bold idea. He comforted Nanhai and told him not to move. After he went out, he would definitely find someone to save Nanhai. In this way, Xuanshu stepped on the monster's clothes. When he thought he had succeeded, he didn't expect the monster's tail to roll directly into Xuanshu. Then he put him slowly on the ground. The monster provoked him and said, "With me here, you will never get out of here." At this time, Nanhai came out of the cave to see this scene. He was scared to pee his pants. In order to protect Nanhai from entering the cave again, Xuanshu ran back to the end and was caught by the monster. In order to completely eliminate the monster, the government launched a biochemical weapon in the Han River. This action also caused a lot of dissatisfaction among the people. There were protests on the banks of the Han River. When the monster saw so many prey, it was as if it was bleeding. People were swimming towards the crowd. This is when a couple first discovered the monster. The police were shooting at the monster. Ado went up to stop the police from shooting because he was afraid the police would hurt the monster's daughter. When he saw the monster climbing on the shore, the government decisively released the biochemical weapon. Seeing the monster struggling on the ground, Ado rushed forward and finally found his daughter in the monster's belly. He pulled his daughter out. At this time, there was a boy in Xuanshu's arms. Ado saw that Xuanshu was no longer alive, and he was in great pain. At this time, Ado gradually regained his mind. He must make the murderer who killed his daughter pay for it. Then Nan Yi took the burning bottle and threw it at the monster. He chased the result all the way and was blocked by the monster. At the critical moment, the homeless man stood up. He quietly came to the top of the monster. He poured the burning oil all over the monster. Nanyi took the opportunity to take the last burning bottle to the monster. As a result, the burning bottle slipped from his hand and fell behind him. When Nanyi fainted, this is a wonderful scene. After a while, he saw a male professional archery player. He used his arrow to hit the fire. The arrow hit the monster accurately. At this time, the whole body of the monster was surrounded by flames. The monster cried bitterly and wanted to leave the world. At this time, the monster looked at the Han River not far away. When he wanted to escape to the water and put out the fire, he was directly intercepted by a doe. A doe used all his strength to pierce the monster's life. At this moment, a father is fighting for his dead daughter. In the end, the monster finally fell. A doe came to Nanhai with a weak body. At this time, Nanhai woke up. In order to protect Nanhai, his daughter lost her life. And Nanhai is an orphan who has no home to return to. Maybe it's the best arrangement in the world. From then on, Nanhai and a doe live together. There are a lot of snacks and a doe's love for him. They live a simple and happy life together.